The air crackled with energy as twin titans clashed amidst a tempest of black clouds and massive time rifts that tore through the swirling void above them. The rocky valley shook with each thunderous impact, the very earth trembling beneath their feet. And standing triumphantly amidst the chaos was Kaizen Ryu, the mysterious Saiyan human hybrid with stoic determination etched upon his youthful face. His black, spiky hair, streaked with silver, framed piercing amber eyes that burned with unwavering resolve. The GI he wore was a testament to his heritage, a fusion of Goku's fighting spirit and Vegeta's pride. Orange and blue, respectively, and bearing the emblem of a snarling silver dragon. Perched atop a nearby boulder were Goku and Vegeta, their expressions grim as they watched the spectacle before them. With a flick of his tail, Vegeta brushed aside some loose rocks that had been dislodged by the force of the battle. "It's quite the show, isn't it?" Goku remarked, a hint of admiration in his voice. "That kid's strength is truly something else." Vegeta grunted in response, his eyes narrowed to slits as he continued to scrutinize Kaizen's movements. Their attention was focused on the monstrous Shadow Beast. That Kaizen was locked in combat with the Void Reaver. A creature born from the darkest recesses of the universe was a formidable opponent. Its jagged form was a mass of swirling darkness, its surface shifting and undulating like a turbulent sea. Glowing red eyes burned through the gloom, and huge claws, tipped with razor-sharp talons, slashed and raked at Kaiser with relentless ferocity. Despite its amorphous shape, the Void Reaver moved with a disturbing grace, its attacks coming from unexpected angles and its defenses shifting with uncanny speed. It was a predator that thrived on chaos and destruction, and it reveled in the fear it instilled in its victims. With a mighty roar that echoed through the valley, the Void Reaver lunged at Kaizen, its claws extended, ready to tear him to shreds. But Kaizen was prepared. He met the creature's charge head-on, his own attack thundering like a sonic boom as he slammed his fist into the monster's jaw. The impact sent shockwaves rippling through the air, and for a moment, the only sound was the roar of the wind and the rumble of the collapsing earth. But the Void Reversal, recovering quickly from the blow, lashed out with a swipe of its massive claws, raking across Kaiser's chest. The Saiyan hybrid staggered back, clutching at the deep gash in his GI where the claws had connected. Blood trickled down his torso, staining the fabric crimson. But despite the pain, there was no fear in his eyes. With a growl that mirrored the creature's own, Kaizen launched himself forward once more. This time, he aimed for the Void Reaver's shifting, shadowy form, his fists blurring as he unleashed a flurry of devastating blows. But the creature was slippery and elusive, writhing like a snake and avoiding each of Kaizen's attacks with ease. Frustration tightened its grip on Kaizen, but his determination only grew stronger. With a sudden surge of power, he pushed forward, forcing the Void Reaver back. The creature snarled, its glowing eyes blazing with anger and fear. And with one last-ditch effort to escape, it vanished into the swirling depths of a nearby time rift. Kaizen stood panting, his body aching, his GI torn and bloodied, but his expression was one of fierce concentration as he turned towards the remaining time rift, the gateway to the void through which the creature had fled. In that moment, he knew that the battle was far from over. The Void Reaper may have escaped for now, but he would not be denied victory. With a deep breath, Kaizen began to gather his strength, his eyes hardening with resolve. As the battle raged around him, Goku and Vegeta exchanged glances. They knew that Kaizen was in grave danger, but they also sensed an opportunity. The time rift was unstable, threatening to consume everything in its path. If they could somehow stabilize it, they might be able to sever the Void Reverser's connection to this realm. "I say we lend that kid a hand," Goku suggested, a determined glint in his eye. Vegeta hesitated for a moment, his pride warring with his sense of duty. But in the end, he nodded curtly. "Very well," he said, his voice echoing with power. "We shall see what we can do." With a shared nod, they launched themselves into the fray. In a flash of gold and blue light, they arrived beside Kaizen, their presence bolstering the young fighter's resolve. Together, the three Saiyans faced the time rift, their combined energy forming a protective barrier against the swirling void. For a moment, there was a glimmer of hope. Perhaps they had turned the tide. But then a voice boomed from the heart of the rift, a voice that chilled the Saiyans to the bone. "Fools," it said, and the name struck terror into their hearts. Eclipser, the enigmatic and immensely powerful being who had unleashed the Void Reavers upon the universe. As if to emphasize his point, the time rift flared, and the Void Reaver emerged from its swirling depths, its form larger and more menacing than before. Enraged by the interference, it lunged at the Saiyans, its claws raking across the battlefield, leaving deep furrows in its wake. The earth shattered beneath the force of its attacks, and the very fabric of reality seemed to warp and twist in response. With a mighty roar, the Void Reaver charged at Goku, its target. The Saiyan god, however, was ready. He met the creature's charge head-on, his own energy thundering as he unleashed a barrage of energy blasts. The Void Reaver reeled back, momentarily stunned by the intensity of Goku's attack, but it quickly recovered, its shadowy form writhing as it unleashed a torrent of dark energy in response. Vegeta, ever the strategist, saw his opportunity. As the Void Reaver was distracted, he launched a surprise attack, his energy taking the form of a razor-sharp blade that sliced through the darkness, leaving a gaping wound in its way. The creature roared in pain and rage, its attention now split between the two Saiyans. But they pressed their advantage, launching a relentless assault that kept the Void Reaver on the defensive. Despite their best efforts, though, the Void Reaver was proving to be a tough opponent. Its shadowy form seemed to regenerate almost instantly from any damage it sustained, and its attacks, though wild, were incredibly powerful. The balance of power was shifting, and the Saiyans knew that they needed to change tactics. Kaizen, who had been watching the battle intently, saw an opening. While the Void Reaver was preoccupied with Goku and Vegeta, he dashed forward, his eyes blazing with determination. The creature sensed his approach and lashed out with a swipe of its claw, but Kaizen was too quick. He dodged the attack and slammed his foot into the ground, sending a shockwave that knocked the Void Reverser off balance. In that instant, Kaizen unleashed his most powerful attack, a devastating blast of energy that erupted from his hands, the Gravity Breaker. The attack struck the Void Reaver, and for a moment, everything went silent. The swirling darkness that had been the creature's form dissipated, revealing nothing but a faint outline of its former self. The rift above them, however, still glowed ominously, a reminder that the battle was not yet won. With a final surge of power, Kaizen destroyed the last vestiges of the Void Reaver, leaving behind only a faint echo of its fading presence. The time rift remained, a silent testament to the battle that had just unfolded. And from its depths, they could hear Eclipser's voice, a low growl that promised retribution. As the dust settled and the echoes faded, Kaizen stood amidst the ruins of the battlefield, his ji torn and bloodied, but his spirit unbroken. Beside him, Goku and Vegeta watched the fading rift with grim expressions on their faces. The immediate danger had passed, but the threat of Eclipser still loomed large over the universe. That was quite the show, wasn't it? Goku remarked, a hint of awe in his voice. Kaizen nodded, his gaze fixed on the fading rift. It's not over yet, he said, his voice grave. Eclipse is still out there. Vegeta snorted, his pride wounded. Humph! Let him come, he said dismissively. We'll just obliterate him. But there was a hint of uncertainty in his voice that betrayed his bravado. Kaizen, however, was not so confident. He had seen firsthand the power of the Void Reaver and heard the chilling menace of Eclipse's voice. He knew that they were in for a much bigger battle. The fate of the universe, it seemed, hung in the balance. And as the sky darkened and the clouds gathered, they braced for the coming storm.